Quraysh used to do. Allah did not legislate the Bahira. And Allah did not legislate the Sa'iba. And Allah did not legislate the Wasila, with the Sad, the Wasila. And Allah did not legislate the Ham. But those people who disbelieve, they concoct a lie on Allah, and most of them don't know. The majority of them, they don't know. Allah went on to say in the next ayah, and if it is said to them, Quraysh and these people who made up these things, if it is said to them, come to what Allah has revealed, the Quran, and come to the messenger, come to the Sunnah, come to the Quran and come to the Sunnah. You and me, we have a disagreement. You and you have a disagreement. You're telling me it's this way and I'm telling you it's that way. Okay, no problem. Come to the Quran and let's prove our point. You bring your ayat and the explanation of those ayat from the Sunnah. Let's not keep arguing and fighting. Allah said, when it is said to them, come to what Allah has revealed and to the Prophet ﷺ, you will find them saying, no, we're not going to come to the Quran. We're going to follow what we found our fathers doing. That's what we're going to do. Allah said, even though their fathers didn't know and their fathers were not guided aright, these are the two ayat that we're going to deal with today. Inshallah. So the first part of the ayat, the first ayat, مَا جَعَلَّ اللَّهُ مِن بَحِيرَةٍ. Allah has not made the bahira. Now you guys have to pay attention. Why would Allah mention this in the Quran if it wasn't important? Allah has not made the bahira. What is the bahira? If you go to most masjids and you say to the Muslims, hey, you're 35 years old, you're 40 years old, you're 50 years old, you read that Quran how many times? This ayah, what is the bahira? Most people are going to say, I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. Okay, no problem. Now we're going to learn what it is. The bahira is something that the kuffar of Quraysh used to do before Prophet Muhammad came, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The kuffar of Quraysh, if a man or a lady or an animal, if they had a lot of babies, a lot of children, a lot of offspring, their culture said that that man was powerful, that that lady was a good lady, that that animal was special. So a man, he can have 20 children, like in Africa. The man has 20 children, these kuffar here, Jamaicans, and other than that. I'm not being stereotypical. A person has 10, 15, 20 children. How many children you have? 20. Person says, whoa, 20 children? But they don't care. Does he take care of his children? Are they legitimate children? They don't look at that. They just look at, you got 20 kids? Whoa, whoa, you're a real man. That's how Quraysh used to be. So if you had a lot of babies, Quraysh would be like, wow. And that's why the man, they used to bother the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They used to say to him, you don't have any sons. You don't have any sons. And then Allah Ta'ala revealed that ayat of the Quran, that surah, the Quran, إِنَّا أَتَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرَ فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ إِنَّ شَانِئَكَ هُوَ الْأَبْتَرُ. They were saying to the Nabi, you're abtar. You don't have any sons. You don't have any sons. We have many sons. Allah Azza just said, the one who said this to you, he's the one who's going to be cut off. Abtar means cut off. You have no lineage. A man doesn't have any sons to carry his name on, so they called him Abtar. So they were saying to the Nabi, you're Abtar, you don't have any sons. Because in their culture, to have sons was a big thing. No, Allah Azza just said, you, the one who's saying that to Muhammad, you're Abtar. To this day, we don't even know who was the man, who was that ayat referring to, because Allah made the history forget him. Whereas everybody know the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the point here is, Al-Bahira in this ayat, Bahira. Bahira to the Arabs was the camel, the she-camel, the female camel. If the female camel had 5 offspring, 5 babies, maybe the first time gave twins and then triplets or 1, 1, 1, 1. The important thing, if the camel gave 5 babies, they would cut the mother's ear, slit the mother's ear, and they would say, this camel is free. It can walk wherever it wants to walk. It can drink. It can eat. No one can bother it. You can't take the milk. You can't slaughter it. It can't carry anything. We got to make it free for the idols. For Al-Lat and Al-Uzza and Manat and Hubul. They will make this free with ikhlas for their idols. Not for Allah, for their idols. That's the Bahira. Also part of the Bahira is the fifth baby, the fifth offspring that came from that camel, the fifth one, Quraysh would look at it. If it came out as a boy, if it came out as a girl, the fifth baby, if it was a girl, they would slit the ear and say, "You're just like your mother." They will leave it alone. That camel will grow up and it can go wherever it wants. And you can't bother it. You can't slaughter it. You can't harm it. You just got to leave it alone. If it was a girl, it's like his mother. It's Bahira. So the camel is born, and this little kid right here, he sees this camel. He grows up, and the camel grows up together, and the people respect the camel more than him because it's Bahira for the gods. Now, if the camel came out as a boy, the men of Quraysh said, this camel, only the men can eat it. The women is haram. Women, you can't eat it. Allah Ta'ala mentioned this in Surah Al-An'am. Surah Al-An'am. He said, وَقَالُوا مَا فِي بُطُونِ هَذِهِ الْأَنْعَامِ خالصة لذكورنا ومحرم على أزواجنا وإن يكن ميتة فهم فيه شركاء. They say, what's in the stomach of this camel, it will be halal for our men, only for our men, but it's haram for our wives, for the women. But if it comes out the third way. So if it came out a girl, it's Bahira like the mother. If it came out a boy, only the men would eat it. If it came out stillbirth, it came out dead, then the men and the women would eat it. That's the Bahira. The men and the women would eat it. Now, one of the problems with this is that those people made haram what Allah made halal. Allah Ta'ala mentioned many ayahs in the Quran. أَمْ لَهُمْ شُرَكَاء شَرَعُوا لَهُمْ مِنَ الدِّينِ مَا لَمْ يَأْذِنْ بِهِ اللَّهِ. Do they have partners who have legislated with Allah in the deen that Allah didn't allow? We don't believe in democracy and this stuff like that because it's not permissible for people to legislate along with Allah. Allah mentioned in another ayah of the Quran, قُلْ مَنْ حَرَّمَ زِينَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي أَخْرَجَ مَنْ حَرَّمَ زِينَةَ اللَّهِ وَالطَّيِّبَاتِ قل من حرم زينة الله التي أخرج لعباده والطيبات من الرزق قل للذين آمنوا خالصة يوم القيامة. Who made haram the halal and the good things that Allah has created for the people? And some Muslims do this. We come and we say, you know the Pepsi soda? The Jews make Pepsi, so you can't drink Pepsi. Yeah, Allah made Pepsi halal. Don't you come with your mind making it haram. You know Mountain Dew soda, Mountain Dew? It has some ingredient in it. It has pork in it. You can't drink it. You have to be careful telling people about what's halal and haram and don't talk without knowledge. So, the Bahira. That's what the Bahira is. Again, a second time. Again. They would say, this camel gave 5 babies. They would slit the ear and say, you're free. Do what you want to do. They look at the baby, the 5th one. If it was a female, they made it like the mother, Bahira. The baby and the mother, Bahira. If it came out a male, the men would slaughter it and only the men would eat it. If it came out dead, they would slaughter it, the men and the women would eat it. That's Bahira. Ma ja'alallahu min Bahira. Allah didn't make this his religion. The second one is the Sa'iba. Now this is really important. The Sa'iba, I'm going to come and I'm going to ask you, what's the Sa'iba? You're going to give me the right answer because it's important. It's connected to our Aqidah. The Sa'iba is connected to a man from the days of Jahiliyyah. Before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Akramakallah. The man's name is Amr ibn Luhay al-Khuza'i. Amr ibn Luhay al-Khuza'i. The Prophet came to his companion sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and he said, I saw Amr ibn Luhay al-Khuza'i last night in my dream. This man lived before the Nabi, way before the Nabi. He said, I saw Amr ibn Luhay al-Khuza'i in my dream. He was in the hellfire being punished. He was carrying his intestines around and he was being burnt and he was being punished. They said, why was he being punished, Ya Rasulullah? The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لأنه كان أول من سيب السوائب وَأَوْرُ مَنْ غَيَّرَ دِينَ إِسْمَعِيلَ. He's being punished because he was the first person from the Arabs who made the Sa'iba. Bahiran Sa'iba. And he's also the first person who changed the religion of Ismail. Ibrahim and Ismail, they didn't build, but they built upon the Kaaba. They called to the worship of Allah with Tawheed. And the Arabs were upon the religion of Ismail and Ibrahim, the religion of Tawheed. They were on the religion of the Tawheed. Rasulullah, before he became a Nabi, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he didn't make shirk with Allah. He didn't believe in those idols. Abu Bakr never worshipped those idols. Khadija never worshipped those idols. Uthman ibn Affan never worshipped those idols. There were certain people who were living during the time of the Nabi, they never worshipped those idols. Some of them even were Christians and Jews, like the cousin of Khadija, Waraqa ibn Nawfal. When Jibril came with Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, she said, go to my cousin, he knows. So he told him, that's the same one who came to Musa. He knew he was on that religion. This man, Amr ibn Luhay al-Khuza'i, he was the first man from the Arabs who went inside of the Kaaba and he started drawing pictures of Ibrahim with an azlam, make divination with arrows, believing in crazy hocus pocus. He was the first one who started to encourage the people to make these idols. Before Ibrahim, Ismail, these idols didn't exist. These idols came after the Kaaba was built, after Safa and Marwa, after Muzdalifah and Mina, Arafah. The Arabs knew about that stuff, but they changed their religion. From them who changed their religion, the Prophet's father Abdullah, the Prophet's mother Amina. And because of that, his mother and father are in the hellfire, because he said that, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Someone may say, but how are they in the hellfire? They never got any dawah. No, they were on, or they should have been on the religion of Ibrahim and Ismail. Now what is the sa'iba that this man, he did? The sa'iba, ikhwani, it was a practice of Quraysh. If a person had a problem, if a person was afraid of something, if a person was sick and he wanted to become well, his wife is about to have a baby. Every time she has a baby, the baby dies. Someone may come, he's going to travel from Syria all the way to Mecca. So when he travels, he tells the party, look, when you get to Mecca, tell my uncle, tell my brother, tell my father that I'm going to be coming in a month's time. So he's waiting for his son. The man will say to the gods, to the idols, if you bring my brother, my husband, my son, if you bring him safely, I'm going to make a sa'iba. A sa'iba is, again, the camel. They would free the camel. And once they free the sa'iba, when they free it for the idols. He can do whatever he wants to do. He eats whatever he wants to eat, drinks whatever he wants to drink. If he came into this masjid or into your house, you can't shoo him away. You just have to let him do what he wants to do. That was a practice of the kuffar of Quraysh. They used to do that with ikhlas. They used to have sincerity. Sometimes they did it with the human beings. If my brother comes safely, if my wife gives birth to the baby, if this happened, if that happened, he'll free a slave. He'll come and tell a slave, you're free. Like the sa'iba, you're free. The only thing is, he can always go back on his word and take the slave again. But he would never, ever, ever change his mind about the sa'iba. So what's the sa'iba? The sa'iba in this ayat is the process that they used to do. If this good happens or that happens, whatever, I'm going to free the camel so he can do whatever. Allah said in this ayat, مَا جَعَلَ اللَّهُ مِن بَحِيرَةٍ وَلَا سَائِبَةٍ. This sa'iba is not from our religion. There's a practice that the Asian community does here. The majority of the Asian masjids in this country, they're the majority of the Asians, Pakistanis, where they come from. And I'm not against Pakistanis. I'm just explaining the point. Just like people from Ghana, they have practices as well. Cutting your face and other than that. Pakistanis, the majority of them are called Brahwis. They have a lot of crazy beliefs. One of the things that they do, like for the Eid al-Adha. In Eid al-Adha, every household has to slaughter. If you have the ability, it's wajib that you slaughter. Now if you slaughter an additional animal for your mother who died, for your father, that's even better. Slaughtering is from the best ibadat in al-Islam. And that's why we slaughter for the aqiqah. It's wajib to slaughter for your child. Wajib. We have the aqiqah. When we get married, we slaughter. In Africa, this is a part of our religion that Africans are still holding on to. One of the best ibadat in Islam is to slaughter. قُلْ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةِ وَالنُّسُكِ وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Tell them, Ya Muhammad, my salat and my slaughter, my sacrifice is only for Allah. It's from the best ibadat. You want to make tawbah? Slaughter. You want to make shukr to Allah? Slaughter. You want to do birrul walidain? Send some money so that they can slaughter. Anyway, the Asian community, on the day of Al-Adha, on the 10th of Muharram, Ashura, some of the people, they feel, okay, I'm going to slaughter for my family, I'm going to slaughter for my mother, I'm going to slaughter for my father, and I'm going to slaughter for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm slaughtering this one for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now if you look and you say, okay, he can slaughter for his mother and his father because the deen said you can do that. As for slaughtering on behalf of the Nabi, you say to him, hey, it's not permissible to slaughter an animal on behalf of the Nabi. Why? Because those people who are better than us, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, and the rest of those companions, if slaughtering for the Nabi was permissible, they would have done it. They would have beat us to it. And this is one of the biggest problems with our ummah today. We want to understand this religion in a way different from Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali. That's the big problem with the Muslims today. When you tell the Muslims today, hey, let's do the thing the way the companions, what's your opinion about the companions? He's going to say, I love the companions. Okay, then let us keep our religion similar to their religion. The way they were, the way they understood, the ibadat, the way they understood the Quran. Someone who wants to make the dhikr of Allah, the dhikr of Allah. Allah said in the Quran, Allah bi dhikrillahi tatma'inna al-qulub. With the dhikr of Allah, the hearts become soft and easy. So there's a lot of benefit in the dhikr of Allah. Okay, we're going to get into a big circle, we're going to turn the light off, and we're going to say, Allah, 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 Uwa, 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 Allah, 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 Allah. You say, hey, Akhi, I'm a revert Muslim. I'm a revert. I'm not saying, I just want to know, why are you doing this thing? He says, didn't Allah say in the Quran, by the dhikr of Allah, the hearts become nice? I say to him, yes, Allah said that. But did Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, did they understand that ayah in that way? The 10th of Muharram, Ashura, some people from Iran and Iraq, they're going to take some razors and they're going to hit themselves. They're going to take a knife and they're going to be hitting themselves until blood comes out. They're going to take their son and they're going to hit their sons in the head with the knife until blood comes out. And they're going to hit themselves like this. All of them. It's going to be 10,000, 50,000. And you see, that's their show of love to Allah. You say, hey, what are you doing? They're saying, this is our love for the Nabi. You say to them, okay, did Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman, did they do that? He says to you, no. Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman, they were kuffar. They were kuffar. And Aisha, she was a zaniya. She committed zina. Abu Bakr and Umar, they were homosexuals. That's what they believe. So we say, listen to this ummah, to them and other than them. If we want to be successful, then the way we have to understand this ayats of the Quran and the hadith and the way we have to do our ibadat and worship Allah is not the way anyone does other than those companions, radiyallahu anhum. So the sa'iba, even if you have ikhlas, you're slaughtering for the Nabi, you let this thing go for free, the sa'iba, Allah didn't make that the religion. The religion is what? Proof. The proof shows it's okay. So that's the bahira and that's the sa'iba. The third one that was mentioned was the wasila, with a sad, the wasila. Allah didn't make the wasila. What is the wasila? There's ikhtilaf between the scholars of the tafsir. Ibn Abbas gave one opinion, Ali gave another opinion, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud gave another opinion. What seems to be the strongest opinion, and Allah is a'la and a'lam, is that the wasila is the sheep that gives birth to 7 babies. 7 babies. If the sheep gives birth to 7 babies, they cut the ear of the mother and they let it go, like the Bahira. They look at the 7th baby and they say, okay, if it's a girl, cut the ear, it's like the mother. If it is a boy, they slaughter it and the men eat it and the women can't eat it. If it comes out dead, stillbirth, then everyone can eat it. Everyone can eat it. That's the wasila. The wasila is similar to the Bahira, except that you have to add 2 more babies. That's all. 2 more babies. Now pay attention, because this is part of our culture in Africa. This is important. Not only Africans, but other than us. As I mentioned to you, the Kuffar of Quraysh, if someone has a lot of babies, it was a big thing. Even our Nabi, he loved it, but he didn't love it for the reasons that people love it today. He told the men here, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Zawwiju al-walud al-wadud fa-inni mukathiru bikum al-umam yawm al-qiyamah. He said, marry the women who have a lot of babies. Marry the women who have a lot of babies and the women who are loving. Because I want to have the majority of the followers yawm al-qiyamah. How do you know if a woman is walud? She has a lot of babies. Because what happened was a man came to the Nabi. He said, Ya Rasulullah, this lady wants to marry me. Their family wants me to marry them, but they don't have babies. Should I marry him? He said, no. And that's when he told the people, marry the women who are prolific. They have babies. They're walud, wadud. From wud. Wadud means they love you. Marry the woman who loves you. Because when she gets mad at you and you go back to her, you say, oh honey, come on, relax. She should calm down. If she doesn't love you, she gets mad at you and she'll stay mad at you forever. But if she has wud, she'll calm down. And walud, have babies. How do you know she has babies? You don't know. You have to look at her mother. Her mother had 10 children. Her auntie had 8. Her other auntie had 12. Her sister had 7. The other sister had 10. So you get a good idea. More than likely she's going to be like them. Not always. But usually the son is going to be like the mother and the father. If the father is strong and his wife is physically strong, the son will come out strong. Usually. Not all the time. Usually though. So in this case, in our culture, if there's a lady who gets married and she doesn't have any babies, in Africa especially, we put a lot of pressure on the lady. We say to her, why you didn't have any babies yet? And she wants to get married and right away she wants to have babies because it's pressure, social pressure. If she doesn't have a baby, everyone's going to blame the girl. Neither one of them went to the doctor to check who the problem is. Maybe the problem is from the man. He could be married already with children, but still the problem can just start with him. Right away we blame the girl. Why didn't having babies? And that was a practice of Quraysh. That was from the culture of Quraysh. If we have 2 children, 2 sons, this son had a boy and that son had a girl. Some of us will put the son that gave us a grandson, we'll put him up higher. And say, he has a boy, you have a girl. When are you going to give us a boy? When are you going to give us a boy? And they put pressure on the girl. That's from the Jahiliyyah of Quraysh. That's not from the Haqq of Islam and the Ilm of Islam. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in the Quran, لِلَّهِ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ يَخْلُقُ مَا يَشَاءُ يَخْلُقُ مَا يَشَاءُ يَهِبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ إِنَاثًا وَيَهِبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ الذُّكُورَ أو يزوجهم ذكرانا وإناثا ويجعل من يشاء عقيم. To Allah belongs everything in the heavens and everything in the earth. He creates whatever He wants to create. He gives some people girls. He gives other people boys. Some people He gives them a mixture of girls and boys. And others He leaves them barren. They don't have any children. So the Muslim will never ever walk around and say, why didn't Allah give me any children? He looks at his wife and says, I hate you, I made a mistake. Nah, that's not our religion. Allah is the one who determines these things. Quraysh, that's how they used to look. So the wasila, the bahira and the wasila, they're similar. 7 babies. The 7th one, they look at the baby and they do the same thing for that they would do to the bahira. Lastly, this ayat said the ham. Allah didn't allow the ham. Ham. Again, look at the aqliyat of Quraysh. The aqliyat. At the end of this ayat, Allah said, وَأَكْثَرَهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. Most of them don't have any aql. Kuffar, most of them don't have any aql. The ham. The ham was the camel that was a stallion. Stallion. Not all of the cows are the same. Not all horses are the same. Not all chickens are the same. And all camels are not the same. There's the horse, that's the stallion. In Islam, this issue about jihad, we have some people, jihad, and they don't know anything about the ahkam of jihad. All they know is killing in blood. And jihad is not about that. Jihad is about Allah being worshipped by Himself. Jihad is about stopping fitna and fasad and oppression. If a man, mujahid, rode a particular horse and the Muslims win and it's time to distribute the booty, the money for the war, the one who rode that horse, that strong horse, he'll get more than the one who walked or the one who didn't ride the strong horse. They call that horse the fahd. The camel is the same way. There's the stallion from the camel that the Arabs used to like. They call it the stud. They would take that camel and let that camel sire other ladies, hoping that it will give a strong baby like this one. After they did that for a year, they would take that camel and say, you are the ham. The ham, the stallion camel. The stallion camel was that camel, because he was strong, you needed him. It was a position of prestige. If you let it go free, it shows you have ikhlas. It shows that you make commitment for the idols. Now the problem with this camel though, the ham, is that this camel is kind of crazy. Even in Ghana, where you have camels, wherever we come from, I think most of us have seen camels where we come from. Do they have camels in Ghana? I don't know. Do they have camels there? No camels in Ghana?
It's not desert.
I'm from Niger, Mali.
But the Tawaraq and other than those people, didn't they bring camels from the desert down to Ghana?
Nigeria.
I think maybe during the time of an istimar, during the time of colonization, they must have killed all the camels or something. But anyway, those camels. Prophet Muhammad said that we can't make salat in the corral of the camel. The earth is a masjid. The Prophet said, جُعِلَتْ لِي الْأَرْض مَسْجِدًا وَطُهُورًا فَأَيُّمَا رَجُلٍ مِّنْ أُمَّتِي أَدْرَكَتْهُ الصَّلَاةَ فَلْيُصَلِّي. The earth has been made for me a masjid and tahur. You can make tayammum if you don't have any water. He said, when time for salat comes, wherever you are, pray. So the Muslim can pray anywhere in the earth. If he doesn't have water, he makes tayammum. He doesn't have an excuse. I don't have water. He makes tayammum and he prays. But there are a few places we can't pray. We can't pray in the maqbara. You can make salatul janaza, but the salat of ruku', you can't pray in the graveyard. You can't pray in the hamamat because of the najasa that's in the hammam. And the third place where you can't pray is the corral of the camels. If this is a place where camels live, you can't pray there. It's haram. Even if all of the camels were in the corner and you over here by yourself and you know the camel is not coming, you cannot pray in the corral of the camel because the Prophet prohibited it. One of the reasons why he said it's haram is because of this ham camel. This ham camel, if you're the owner of the camel for 15, 20 years, the camel knows you. But at any moment, he can go berserk. He has something wrong with him. Some jinn, something's wrong with him. He will for no reason attack you. No reason. He's that camel, he starts to foam at the mouth. He's like crazy. Something's wrong with him. So the Quraysh, They used to let this stallion camel go free. Now, if the stallion camel goes free, it's dangerous on the community. Because if he walks in the community, he'll just attack the kid and bite his head off and stomp him to death. And if that happened to a child, Quraysh would say, this is good luck. This is a good thing, and they would be happy. Because he was killed by the ham. It meant that the idols wanted good for the family. That's a musibah. If a Muslim gets hit by a car or something happens, your child swallows something and chokes to death, we say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. That's something you cry about. Quraysh, they weren't like that. If the ham camel, and you can't do anything to him, you have to let him go wherever he wants to go, eat whatever he wants to eat, drink whatever he wants to drink. You can't say to him, shoo, get away, get away. You can't bother him. He doesn't carry anything. He's free in the society and he's dangerous. If he comes, he can attack you. He can harm you. So Allah Ta'ala negated this thing and said, this is not from the religion. Those 4 issues, Ikhwani, they go to show what? Brothers, they go to show how Quraysh has some things that they were doing in their customs, that some of them wanted to bring these things in Islam, and Islam came and said, no, this is not from the religion. Allah said, لَكِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يَفْتَرُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ. Those people disbelieve, they lie on Allah when they say these things are from the religion. And most of them don't know. And then the next ayah said, and if it is said to them, come to what Allah has revealed, come to what Allah has revealed, and come to the Rasul, come to the Quran, the Sunnah, they say, حَسْبُنَا مَا وَجَدْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاءَنَا. We're going to follow what our fathers did. We don't want the Quran and the Sunnah. Another ayah Allah Ta'ala mentioned, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ اتَّبِعُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ قَالُوا بَلْ نَتَّبِعُ مَا أَلْفَيْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاءَنَا. If it is said to them, follow what Allah revealed, they said, no, we're going to follow what we found our fathers doing. I want to ask you brothers a question from our culture in Africa. West Africa, Central Africa, East Africa, Somalia, Ethiopia, Muslims and non-Muslims. The girl, she is the age of 7 and 8 years old. The women come and take that girl from you, from your wife. Take her with strength. Her aunties and the other women. And they take her to some other house where some lady is going to give her a khitan. The circumcision. Female genital mutilation. Where they cut out all of her private part and sew it up. There is a khitan from the sunnah for men and women. And the one from the sunnah for the women is that you just take a little bit off of the tip. That's it. The Prophet used to tell a lady, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, her name was Hani. Hani. She was the lady who was responsible for doing the janazah for the women. She was the lady who was responsible for the qabila, giving birth to the children, the nurse. She was the lady who used to do the circumcision. He told her, take a little bit of it off. But where we come from, we go inside and cut things out and then sew it up. Because they believe if she doesn't have this, she's going to be a zania. She's going to be a zania. Okay, this is our culture. This is our culture. But you know where this culture originated? This thing originated with Fir'aun. And that's why they call it the Fir'aun circumcision. During the time of Fir'aun, Musa's time, Fir'aun had a dream that someone from Bani Israel was going to destroy his kingdom. They told him, we believe that we need to do something about this. Allah mentioned it in the Quran. So one year, Fir'aun would kill the boys, and one year he would let them live. One year he would kill the boys from Bani Israel, and the next year he would let them live. The year that Musa was born was the year he was killing them. So they had to send Musa down the river. He went away. And the next year, Harun was born. They didn't do anything because that's the year they don't kill him. And then they went a step further. They said, in order for us to know that no one has a baby in secret, give them this circumcision. So that they're going to need us to come and do the operation, and we can see if it's a boy or a girl. If it's a boy, we'll kill him. If it's a girl, we'll let it go. And the Muslims follow the Sunnah of Fir'aun and say, this is our culture. And then it was said to them, hey, stop doing this. We say, no, I'm going to do what my fathers did. That was what Quraysh and the Kuffar used to do. Allah Ta'ala mentioned another practice from them. He said in the Quran, وَإِذَا بُشِّرَ أَحَدُهُمْ بِالْأُنْثَى ظَلَّ مُسْوَدًّا وَهُوَ كَذِيمٌ يَتَوَارَى مِنَ الْقَوْمِ مِنْ سُوءِ مَا بُشِّرَ بِهِ أَيُمْسَكُهُ عَلَى هُونٍ أَوْ يُدُسُّهُ فِي التُّرَابِ. When one of them, Quraysh, his wife carried the baby for 9 months. The baby came out. After 9 months, when he is told, you had a baby girl, your wife just gave birth to a baby girl, Allah said his face becomes black with grief. And he starts walking around in the society and he's embarrassed. And he starts thinking to himself, should I keep the baby and be disgraced? Or should I take it and bury it in the ground? And what would they choose to do? They would bury that brand new baby in the ground. And if you were to say, Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl, come here, come here. That baby of yours, she has beautiful eyes, nice hair. Look at her color, beautiful little baby, infant. And you buried her alive, like Umar said. He said, Ya Rasulullah, in Jahiliyyah, I would drink khamr. My wife would give the baby. I wait for the news. It's a baby girl. I'll take the girl and bring her in the desert and I'll make the hole. And then I'll put the baby in the hole and cover up the hole. I had no rahmah. Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl, come here, come here. You're a pretty baby. Why did you bury your baby like that? Why did you do it? Just tell me the reason why. His answer is, because my fathers did it. Because that's what I found my fathers doing. Is that intelligent? Is that an intelligent answer? You're going to bury your daughter because that's what your father did? In Ghana, what's the madhab of the people? Maliki madhab? And Imam Malik was one of the biggest scholars of Al-Islam. He was the Imam of Dar al-Hijr. Does that mean just because I was born in Mali, I have to have the Maliki madhab? No. I have to have it because that's, why? That's what my fathers did. When I became a Muslim, my mother, my aunties, and I'm not telling you this because I'm better than anyone, I'm telling you this is how people think, especially black people. Why do they remain on other than Islam? Why do they remain Christians? Just think of this. I want you guys, even in Ghana, you come from Ghana. Go to any church in Ghana, any church here where black people are, and you'll find a picture of Jesus Christ. He's a white man. White, blue eyes, blonde hair. Jibril, Mikhail, they're all white. Musa, Ibrahim, their whole religion, white, white, white. Racism in the book. Everyone who's black, every black person in that book did something bad in their Bible. Every black person. As a matter of fact, they said in the Bible, this is in the Bible, I tell you no lie, that Nuh, he drank khamr, he became drunk, and he took his clothes off and he was drunk, naked. His son, who the white people came from, saw him. And he turned away and walked away. He was shy. His son Ham, who the black people came from, he came and he looked at him and laughed at his father's nakedness. And he laughed and went away. So the other son went back in. Without looking, he put a blanket over his father. He woke up and he became okay. He said, what happened yesterday? His son, who white people came from, told him, your son Ham, who black people come from, he was laughing at your nakedness. So Nuh made dua to Allah. Oh Allah, oh God, curse Ham and his descendants and make them the slaves of the people of the earth. Because of this verse in the Bible, those white people in South Africa, white people around the globe, Christians, they actually believe we have a divine curse on us. How can I be in that religion? I'm sitting in the church, the man is white, Jesus is white, and the prophet told us that Jesus wasn't white. Musa wasn't white. The Nabi told us that. Anyway, my mother said to me, why did you become a Muslim? My auntie, why did you become a Muslim? Why did you become a Muslim? I say to them, why not become a Muslim? Why not? They say, because that's not the religion of your forefathers. The religion of my forefathers is worshiping a white man. What sense does that make? So the point here, Ikhwani, don't follow your culture when your culture doesn't make sense. Don't follow your culture. In Africa right now, we have witch doctors who are Muslims. Witch doctors. You want to know what happened, you go to him, he take out some chicken bones, some old bones, and he telling you the future.
Chicken bones.
What do they call it?
Chicken bones, they call them.
Chicken bones, whatever the bone is. We have to take the kitab, and we have to take the sunnah, and we have to take the understanding of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ in navigating and understanding this religion. Lastly, the second ayah Allah Azza mentioned. Is that the right time?
No, more time. No,
Allah Ta'ala has mentioned in the second ayat, if it is said to them, come to what Allah has revealed into the Sunnah, to the Nabi, you'll find him saying, it's enough what we found our fathers doing. Although their fathers, they did not have any knowledge, nor were they guided. Some of us, like my grandfather, my great-grandfather, they couldn't read and they couldn't write. My great-grandfather was a slave, free slave in America. Can't read, can't write. He's illiterate. Couldn't read and couldn't write. He was ummi. Because you can't read and write doesn't mean you're stupid. Doesn't mean you're dumb. The Nabi was ummi. But the point is, a lot of times, our forefathers, they're juhal. They have jahl. Why should I follow what they did just because they're my forefathers? I follow my forefathers and I follow my culture and the things that are good, the things that are pure. My forefathers were brave. I'm going to be brave. My forefathers were hard workers. They were farmers. They were carrying water, for an example. All right, I want to be more than a carrier of water, but they were honest and they had integrity and they were noble. Be like that. Follow that. But my forefather, he was a mushrik. My forefather, he was a soothsayer, kahin. He was a magician. My forefather, he was a lazy person, a bum. No, I'm not going to follow my forefathers in those issues. So we're going to stop here, inshallah ta'ala, concerning this ayah. Very quickly, before we do a Q&A, let me ask you, brothers, the Bahira. The Bahira. Someone tell me, what is the Bahira? And this ayah, Allah has not made the Bahira. Someone tell me very quickly, what's the Bahira, my man?
If a camel had a lot of kids, like a lot of offspring, then they'll think the camel's special.
How many offspring?
Like 10.
10. Why not 20? Why not 50? Somebody tell me how many. Yeah, my man. 5. What would they do? What would they do if it gave birth to 5?
If it's a girl, they'll carry and leave it as their mom.
And what else? Keep going.
And if it's a boy, they'll carry and the men will.
Good, good. And if it came out dead?
The men and women.
And what would they do with the mother?
They'll leave it.
They'll leave it. The sa'iba. The sa'iba. Someone tell me, what is the sa'iba? What is the sa'iba, my man? Do you know? Go ahead. If a person had a problem, his wife is pregnant, he has a problem, he needs to get out of his problem, what would they do? Anybody want to help them? Anybody? Faddal.
It's a kind of promise they make that if something good happens, the kind of sacrifice they will offer in return for that. So they may free a slave, and though he said they may go back to their worlds and take the slave back. But if it is an animal that they free, they will never go against.
And that animal will walk around like that.
Yeah.
Who was the man who was the first one to do that? Name is Amr ibn Luhay al-Khuza'i. He changed the religion of Quraysh from Tawheed to Shirk and Kufr. The third one is the Wasila. The Wasila is like the Bahira. Anybody know? Anybody know?
Yeah, sheep.
It's the sheep.
The sheep give
7 babies.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
The same as
If it's a boy,
the
the men eat it. If it's a girl, free like the mother. And if it came out dead, everybody. Lastly, the ham. What's the ham? The strong camel that they would let him go. And he was a danger to the community.
The mad camel.
He's the madman. The ham is not always mad. That's the thing about the ham. It's unpredictable. For his whole life, he may be gentle and he may be loyal. But there's always that one moment where he loses his mind and he goes berserk and he starts to foam and he'll start attacking people. So you'll see many times. We have any brothers from Somalia here? Anybody from Somalia?
Yeah.
Somalis know. If you see this camel, they even have to put something over his mouth. Because if you don't have it, he's a crazy. He's like that. Okay, Khwani, if you brothers have any questions, inshallah, we'll deal with your questions very quickly concerning the dust. Do you guys have anything?
Yeah, my question is regarding, you said you are not allowed to pray in the graveyard. Here in Dar es Salaam, I think they invent a place where we used
Garden
to
of
offer
Peace.
Garden of
We
Peace,
used to pray.
where we used to offer prayers. Prayer time. I don't know.
There is a